Hello everyone, welcome back to the Late Afternoon Glass Off. My name's Finn. As always, I'm joined here by my good pal, Zachary Peter Whiteman. Zach, you're still in Hawaii. How's your week been? How's the budget looking? What's been going on?
Still in Hawaii, mate. I'm on a different island to when we previously spoke. I was on Oahu beforehand. Now I'm on Kauai, which is a little bit different. Almost feels a bit more laid back, a bit more cruisier. Waikiki is pretty hustly bustly, which is good and bad for some. But yeah, over on Kauai, and mate, just been soaking up the rays again, like last time I saw you, mate. Just sitting on the beach, reading my book, not worrying about anything at all, except, yes, you did just touch on the budget. It's like roulette at this point with my card. You kind of tap it and wait for something to happen where you're like, fuck, is this thing even going to work anymore? And we've been slapping it so hard. I'm just waiting for that thing to just come up with a big fat red X. And that's when we'll go, right, let's head to the airport and fuck off out of here.
Beautiful, mate. Oh, that's all part of being on holiday, isn't it? It's actually shocked me to learn that you're reading a book. What are you reading?
I can't read, no. Is that what you
can't?
I'm only kidding. It's actually just, how to read. No, I'm only kidding. It's
how to read. You're reading a book on how to read.
Pretty much. No, but it's the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Is it really?
Yeah. I actually, funny story, I purchased this book in 2017, something like that. And when I went to Europe for the first time, it was like from a WHS in Sydney airport or some shit. And it got stolen. Never even got to start the thing. It was in my bag when my bag got stolen in Portugal.
Yeah.
And then I didn't think about it for another year, and then years went by. And then when we went back to Europe for the second time, I was in the airport. I was like, fuck, I'm going to buy it again. And I bought it. And then I read like a chapter and I was like, I just don't like this book. Like, I didn't like the start, didn't love it. So I put it down for years, honestly, years. And then I've actually just picked it back up and just about to finish it and found a newfound love for it, mate.
Have you found yourself, like, as you've progressed through the book, do you give less of a now since reading it?
Kind of. It's hard. Like, it's not really what the title. It's about choosing your problems and having better problems and whatnot. It's actually a good read. It's a really easy read. I've had books where I've started reading and there's words just every like fifth word. You're like, what the fuck's that? You're Googling it and you're just like, oh, fuck this. I've got one of those books that I love. Like, I really like the author, but I don't like the book. This one is just easy reading. Like, everyone can fucking understand it. And it's actually a really good read. So anyone out there that's trying to get into reading and self-help books, get onto it.
Trying to get into reading. I can't really. I don't read at all. My teachers at school struggle to get me to read books, which is weird because I'm pretty studious a lot of the time, but I just can't get around reading a book for some reason. But we'll leave that there, Zach. That's by the by. Big week of surfing this week. A couple of things.
It's been fucking huge, mate.
It has. Firstly, we say firstly, it's sort of happened in between because we had about 15 lay days in between sort of the round one or the first couple of days of Margies and then the final days. But nestled in between sort of our last episode and where we find ourselves today, we had the Stab High event that took place over in Japan. How did you sort of what was your read on that event, Zach? Like, what were your thoughts on it?
Fucking love it, mate. I think we need to see more of it. We will be seeing more of it. There's going to be another Stab High later this year, which is exciting on home turf. So that'll be great. I love the format. I love what it brings. I love the camaraderie. For me, it feels like a skate snowboarding kind of event where all the competitors hang out together and kind of cheer each other on, which is just so foreign for the WSL side of events. Everyone's in the fucking athlete zone with their skull candy fucking crushes on, listening to whatever the fuck they listen to, and you're just nobody. Whereas I feel like if you look at Street League, you look at X Games, like they're all fucking hanging out together. We've spoken about this previously. I love that shit. I think that's way cooler than being Mr. Cool and not talking to anyone. So to see an event that supports that, yeah, I'll be watching for sure.
Yeah, and both of our surfers of the week sort of come from that weekend. Who was yours?
Mine was Lokana Cullen or Loki Cullen. He was the winner of the Bottle Rockets division, and as a winner of the Bottle Rockets division, you get a spot in the Pro division. And I was a little bit worried because obviously he's going up against the best aerialist in the world, and fuck, he put a score to him first. He was the first person to land a punt, and in my opinion, I thought it kind of got a bit robbed. Maybe they didn't want a young kid to win, the adult or so-called division. But fuck me, man, like he's 14 and he was doing like all the airs in his heats were insane, but there was also a lot of airs that were not in his heats that were just in the warm-ups that were fuck, man, like you can spend a lifetime trying to do that shit and stick it, and he's already doing it. So he's been surfer of the week previously on the potty, and I just couldn't, pick anyone else this week. It's just been fucking incredible to watch, and I can't wait for that kid to, keep going the way he's going and see what space he's going to dominate in. It's going to be pretty fucking cool.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, he was really impressive, man. He threw down like frontside and backside some of the biggest airs of the event. And like I said, he stomped a pretty sick one in the final, and look, maybe they were just leaving a bit of room in the scale. The eventual winner, who is my surfer of the week, Huey Vaughan, he's like 6 months ago, I feel like could have been in the Bottle Rockets division. Like he's pretty young himself. Do we know that he's not 18?
No idea. It'd be close. I think he is 18. Yeah.
I heard it. Like I saw a couple of the comments, and I probably should have looked into this a bit deeper. But when he actually won Dummer was doing the post heat interviews and stuff, and he got his massive score on his final attempt. Just did a big old, I don't even know what you'd call it, just crazy backhand rotation with like he grabbed the inside rail. What's that, Mr. Tech?
Fuck knows, mate. It was psycho.
It was skits, whatever it was. He pulled one of those down and got interviewed afterwards, and Dummer was like, how drunk are you going to get tonight? And he was just like, I'm going to get so smoked. And it was just, I seen the comments afterwards reading through and like, he's 17. Like, you shouldn't be asking him that. So I hope for Stab's sake that he actually is 18, because I dare say, judging from some of the stories we got told, rundowns from Lennox Smith, they went pretty loony over there. So I don't think the 18 age limit was necessarily applying to everyone.
Well, that's the thing, Finley. The 18 age limit is not the limit in Japan. It's actually 20.
Really? So they're all
Yes.
underage.
So, and funny you say that. I watched when they were cheering him up out of the pool, and a beer can was directly handed to him, and he knocked it back. And I was like, yeah, I reckon as much as he wanted to, I reckon someone there at Stab would have been sober enough to go, righto, let's look at this legalities and where we are, especially in Japan. It's so fucking disrespectful to break laws there or rules. So I feel like someone there's looking out for the team, because they would have gone like, wait, just maybe not have a beer. Like, obviously would have got fuck-eyed afterwards, like everyone would have. And in Japan, like you can, like, man, like so many people do. It's so easy to get alcohol there. But to display it, I think would have been a big like no. And they probably would have been told to fucking never come back. So I think, yeah, when I saw him like shake his head at the beer, I was like, yeah, no, it's either he's fucking incredibly smart, or someone there's been like, hey, look, if you do win this fucking thing at the end, say no to a beer. When the cameras turn off, then fucking 100 beers it is.
I just looked it up as well. 2006. So if you run the maths, he's over. He's 18. He's over 18. So,
Yeah. I
but
thought he was.
still illegal in Japan. So we won't go into too much on what we'd been told based on some of the activities that went down, some of the extracurriculars after the event.
Yeah. We'll go into it maybe a bit more as we get through the pod.
For sure. Yeah, look, you touched on it. Probably one of the best viewing events just across the board in terms of action. Pretty much 1 minute in between attempts. You have multiple attempts in a day, so you get to see the same surfers having numerous goes at landing something, and they have the same section every time. It just makes for really good viewing. We kind of like few things popped up throughout the event. So I think Mikey Wright's punt, you've written here, maybe best evers in a pool, and I sort of agree with you there. That thing was insane.
I think, look, maybe not the highest one. I think maybe some of the airs that are coming out of Brazil and that other one are probably more loftier, but fuck me, man, this thing was insane. Like, it was off axis. The grab that he grabbed was hard enough to do even if you aren't upside down. It's pretty much like a very inverted, it's almost like a flare on a fucking BMX bike. I don't know. It was fucked up though. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, like, okay, that just happened. I think that's the best punt ever landed in a pool. Obviously someone can go and do a huge straight air and it's not going to be the biggest, but it might be the biggest one, like height wise, but the technicality on this one, and then to land as hard as he did and ride out as clean as he did too, fuck me, mate.
Yeah, it almost looked like in his in the score, I think he got a 48 or a 49 or something, which is out of 50, so nearly as good as you can go. I feel like he almost made it look too easy, and that's probably why they didn't give it just a 50. It was oddly clean. Like there was no bobbles. He just chucked it up and then came down so smoothly. It was insane.
Yep. Yeah, I think there would have no doubt in my mind, like no discredit to Mikey. He's always landed big punts, but I feel like when you ride out a punch like that, you just like, when I say that, I've definitely haven't done anything to that magnitude, but I've obviously done a single air reverse in my life. But you kind of ride out and just go, oh fuck, like, okay, shit, what do I do now? Like, do I claim? Have I even landed it yet? Like, you kind of full disbelief moment when you ride out of that shit. So no doubt that he would have had a split second of like, oh fuck me, like it's done. No doubt.
It was skits, man. Another talking point, Albulea. He's pretty much the Grinch of the free surf world.
I fucking love that. The Grinch. That's so perfect, man. I don't know what, like, he's just salty, isn't he?
He lives in his little like cave up in like Maui somewhere. I don't know where he's living, but he's from Maui. He goes out and does his double rotations in the crazy, whatever, is it Kona wind or whatever they have there. Goes and launches double rotation alley oops and then just sort of trudges back to wherever his little cave is and just is angry at the world always. And I don't know why. Even like in this event, he seemed to be having the best time ever. And they'd ask him about it after his heat and he'd still have like something negative to say. It was insane. Yeah.
He's definitely a negatron of the event. I remember it specifically. He was talking about something after his wave, and I think last year this happened too. His success rate's pretty low, like, and he gets the shits, bro. Like, you can just see, like, go through all the replays, you can see him like kind of clenching his fists, or he's probably headbutted his board about 50,000 times underneath the water. But he come in from his first punt or his second punt, and I think it was in the final where no one had actually landed one, and then Loki landed that one. And it's funny, everyone else's reaction, like in that same scenario, like if they were being interviewed, like, "Whoa, bro, that was so fucking sick." And he's like, "Yeah, no, it was all right." He landed in layback, so like they're going to ping him for that. Like that was his first thought. Like there was no like fucking, that was sick. Hey, they might like ping him. He was like, "Oh, he landed in fucking layback. They're going to ping him for that." Like I was just like, "Bro, you're so fucking salty right now. Just cop it, man." I don't know. It's just
he's always been like that, man. As far back as I can remember, he's just like he had a good run all those years ago. He was in he appeared in like John Florence's View from a Blue Moon, and he had like a
Bermuda.
really yeah, he had a really successful sort of free surf career back in the day, and he kind of, as everyone got really good around him, like he was almost at the forefront of trying new airs back in the day, and then everyone else started getting really good at airs, and he sort of, I don't know, drifted off into the sunset a little bit, and you didn't really see as much of him. And I feel like he's kind of, I don't know, I feel like he thinks the world owes him a favor for something.
I couldn't agree more, man. Like, I
Yeah,
just feel like when someone doesn't get to the level that they're perhaps thinking that they will get to, fuck, man, that sucks for everyone, but welcome to life.
yeah,
Doesn't mean you go out kicking fucking beer cans the next day. And I don't know. Look, I don't know him personally. He could be the fucking nicest bloke ever and donate 100,000 fucking dollars to cancer. I got no idea. But just on face value, it kind of looked to me like he was a bit salty.
yeah. He doesn't, put it this way, like he doesn't present himself well in the media. So like you really, if you don't know him, that's all you've got to base it off. And yeah, he hasn't done himself any favors there. Now, it wouldn't really be full coverage of this event without touching on Lee Wilson. Now, this was raised to us as well. Cam McDougall again. He's dropped it in our DMs earlier. We had a bit to say about him on our Instagram this week. He did this last year where he came out and basically was like, if you do a double grab, I'm not going to give you a score. And I just don't understand why he feels the need to do this. Like that little Arthur Villar kid and he's a bottle rocket, so he's like the junior division, did 3 like pretty solid corrupt flips, of which the inventor of that move was sat in the judging booth giving him 10s, and being Josh Kerr, obviously. And Lee was giving him 5s. It's just like, what are you doing, dude? Like it actually takes away from the credibility of the judging through the event. Like there's a lot of prize money on the line there, and he's kind of like, I don't know, he's putting a bit of a sour patch on what otherwise is a really just good event all over. Like there's no real complaints at all from me on that event, but that is the one that sort of got under my skin a little bit. It's just like, why do you have to be so alternate and try and have your own sort of, I don't know, perspective on things? Just like he done it, like people are doing crazy airs. Who cares if they double grab? Like oftentimes you have to double grab to actually make the thing. Like why feel the need to like crucify people for that? I don't know what your thoughts on that. I'm sure they're probably similar.
Yeah, 2 things on that one. First and foremost, we're talking about it. So in Stab's playbook, it's worked.
Yes.
It's a controversial topic starter. It's going to get comments. Like we got 100 likes on our comment, rating on Stab. And then I think Leo's comment got like 400 likes. So look, fuck, from a PR point of view from Stab, like touche, you did well. So
they were fully playing
definitely
into
one aspect.
Yeah, they were playing into it as well by posting that. They knew they were going to get bites, and sure enough, they did. My comment was, for those that didn't see it, I basically said they should give him three waves after the event to go out and stomp one. And if he can, then it's like fair enough. You've got your credibility there. You feel free to score it how you want. But until then, if you can't actually do the trick yourself, then don't criticize other people for doing it. Essentially. But yeah, they got a few likes, which was nice. But what was the second point? Sorry.
I feel like this mindset of his around double grabs and the scrutiny towards it perhaps came from a different generation of surfers. And I'm casting my mind back to like old Billabong movies with like Parko or like Fanning a Fire, where surfing like, and this would be Lee Wilson's like age demographic as well. So like he's probably, I feel like and the first time he said it at last year's event or the year before, whatever it was, like once you say it, Finley, you kind of got to run with it. You can't come back next year and be like, I fucking love double grabs. Like everyone's going to cook you. So I feel like, I don't know, I could be fucking so far off the mark here, but the only reason I can see value in what he's saying is like if someone went and did a stock standard fucking double grab, like what me and you could do first wave in the fucking pool, totally agree. Give it a fucking -5. I don't care. But we're now living in a world where little Brazilian kids are about to do fucking triple backflips at this rate with a double grab. So just because the double grab's in there, you can't cook it. I feel like that's the only kind of real reason I can see why he's so passionate about this or like so hard on it is because like one thing, he's kind of said it in the past, and once you say it, you got to fucking run with it. Two, I feel like he's thinking about a different double grab, but this year just took it too far. Like if it was me and I was in that kind of scenario and I went, oh fuck, 2 years ago or 1 year ago I said this, kind of got to run. I'd be like, hey, look guys, fuck, he's done a backflip with it. Like that's not a double grab. That's a fucking backflip.
Yeah.
And then everyone would be like, yeah, fuck yeah, you're right. Look, yeah, no worries. But for him to just sit there and just go 5, 5, 5, fuck off, mate. Like, come on. You can't be doing that. Especially, like, did he not once look to his fucking left and just go, what are you guys going to score that? And everyone's holding up 10s and he just goes 5.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, man, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. He's sort of like almost made it part of his personality now, right? And he's got to live or die by that.
100%. And like, I spoke to a couple of the boys that are there and I said, what was it like? Like, what was the vibe like? And they said, look, we all love Lee so much. He's such a nice guy. But there was a few little touchy points there where they're like, fuck, like what's going on? So I don't think from obviously the internet's going to blow up and do what it does. But from what I heard, the boots on the ground there was no hard feelings. Everyone was just getting fucking fuck-eyed at night and having fun and eating a lot of sushi.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good at least. At least he's got some good character references from Krug because he's another Albie layer, right? He's just portraying himself horrifically to everyone. So
I think back to your point about like he kind of fits the mold of like being in the Starlight a few years ago and then perhaps not coming to that full level of where he would perhaps see himself at. So maybe there's a little bit of trauma there for the boys to figure out, but don't fucking cook some 12-year-olds in the making of that. I don't know. Fuck it.
Fully. No, I'm with you. We'll move on from that into our sort of Margaret River wrap. Now we sort of did a mid event one last week. We had a few lay days afterwards, so it kind of timing wise worked out quite well. And then they actually finished today. So we're recording this Tuesday. We had a listener question from Sam Kaman. I think sorry if I butchered that. It was actually quite an interesting one. Zach, do you reckon this event was poorly run, finishing the waves they had on finals day? Just given that the day before was much better, or do you reckon they just played their cards as best as they could?
Sorry, Finley. I'm going to have to dodge this one. I'm 6,000 kilometers away in a different time zone, different world. I've got no fucking idea what the waves were like, to be honest. If I was there on the ground, I could dive into this one for days, but I've got no fucking idea. And all I know is I've spent the last 2 Aussie events, there on the ground, feeling it, being, in and around the calls. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you fucking don't. Someone's going to fucking hate it. If you're keeping 60% of the tour happy, you're doing really well. Someone's going to hate the call. Someone's going to be like, oh, the fucking, whoa. It happens all the fucking time. So I don't know. That's my answer. Sorry to dribble.
No, that's all right. It's probably not a bad point, really. I'll sort of take it. But again, I'm not there on the ground either. But like, I do think they did as well as they could have, really, in terms of maximizing this forecast. They had some really tricky days in there where it was massive and onshore, so they couldn't run. Potentially, like, I don't know, the day they ran at the box, as good as that was, they probably, if they stayed at main break, they may have been able to fit more heats in that day because they obviously had to do a big hold midday to essentially transfer everything back over to main break. So that potentially sort of hindered them a little bit. And then maybe, I don't know what the rule is when they get to finals, but maybe some overlapping heats yesterday on the day that it was bigger potentially could have got them to the finish line. But look, I'd rather them have finished today in sort of marginal waves than not have had that day at the box. I think that was really important that they did that. And like it was pretty bleak at times watching the finals today, but there was moments, especially the ladies' final. it kind of turned on for half an hour. It was just a shame that either side of that it was dead flat. We'll go into the ladies' final now. Gabby Bryan, Katie Simmers were your eventual finalists. And like I just touched on, the waves turned on. There was 8 waves ridden in this final. Both ladies had respectable heat totals. You had 12.84 for Katie and 17.33 for Gab. Gab basically just did exactly what we thought she would do, Zach. She won this event without necessarily being on the best waves, and she just showed that I actually think she's the most powerful lady surfer that's ever been on tour. I don't know how you feel about that.
I agree. Yep, 100%. I think her and Tyler Wright, I think, are pretty close on power levels. You did mention the heat totals there. We spoke about this earlier off air. I'm fucking bamboozled at that 9.5.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that she didn't surf well. She surfed incredibly well, but like, watch her after the wave. Like, she wasn't like, holy fucking hands in the air. That's what a 9.5 should be. Doesn't matter. Like, I get it. The waves are slow. I get that maybe in comparison to the day, it's a high score. Is it a fucking almost perfect wave? Not even close. I don't know. That I was watching it live, and you know, WSL put their ads in for like 15 minutes or something, you know. And then when they do come back, they don't talk about or show like the heat total for a while. It's got like welcome back, fucking whatever. And then I saw the score, and I was like, oh fuck, I missed a wave or some shit. And it wasn't. It was the 3-turner. I think that's a 7.5. And I feel like if you went and said, hey, Gabby, like, well done, do you reckon that was a 9.5? She'd probably be like, no, it was a sick wave. But like, fuck, was it a 9.5? That's an almost fucking perfect score, Finley.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I definitely think they had to go excellent with it. It was excellent surfing. 9.5 is very, very high score, but I think they
excellent surfing?
I think it was. For the girls, she like no one else in the entire event hit the lip as hard as she did on that wave. I think they had to go excellent with it. But yeah, you're right in the point that 9.5 is getting really close to a 10. You know, they're not leaving themselves much room there for the girls to better that. And good question here from Jack Bain, one which I was going to touch on a bit later, but we'll do it now because it's kind of relevant. Did the slowness of the waves result in overscored waves in the semis and final? And I actually think it might have. I think they kind of, you can get sort of stuck in a bit of a realm where you don't want to access that top part of the scale, but then if you keep giving out sort of 5s and 6s in that range, it just becomes like it's too close. You end up with just a lot of 5s and 6s. There's no spread there. So when, say, someone like Gabby or Katie in that heat, like they both had a pretty good score. Like I think Katie had about a 7 and obviously Gabby had a couple of good scores. But I think they really made the differentiating factor there when they were on a set. So basically, if you got a mid-range wave, you could get a 5, and if you surfed it really well. But if you were on a set, that's when you could sort of access that higher part of the scale. And I think the slowness of the waves definitely sort of helped in that. Like you kind of, it was very, very blatantly obvious when someone was on a set wave and when they weren't.
100%. And it makes sense. And this is like the difficult part where what you're saying makes perfect sense. And I agree with it to some point, but I feel like you don't have to hand those scores out if they're not there. Like,
for sure.
If someone wins a final with, a 13-point heat total or a 14-point heat total, that's still pretty good. And when they go, like, I don't know about you, but if you don't watch the event and you're going back to watch the replay, the first thing you do is go straight to the heat scores. I just want to rip the fucking lid off who won. And you look at it and you'll go, okay, 13 point, whatever, 14 fucking heat total. That's pretty low. And then you go watch the waves, you go, that's fucking why. But I feel like if you look back at that, and for whoever hasn't watched it now, we'll go 9.5. Oh my God, it must have been like 10 foot, and she did a fucking huge like carve down or some shit. Nah, she just did what she could do fucking at Burley. Let's be real. Like, and that's a Burley fucking 7.
Yeah, for sure.
I just didn't see the need.
Definitely. I can see exactly where you're coming from. And it goes back to as well that I think Gabby recognized pretty early on in this event that she didn't have to surf outside of herself to achieve big scores. I think she and I guess she would have run through this with Dog as well. And it became pretty apparent that she was able to just, if she got into a wave and did a really big first turn, it was already going sixes or sevens. And if she finished it off, you were sort of getting into the 7 to 8 range, which was basically the recipe to her success. And Connor O'Leary, obviously part of Dog's camp, said it best on it was a bit of a hot mic after the heat where she'd walked up the steps and they were doing the breakdown. But he basically said to her, it's so easy for you to get 9s when you need one. And it kind of is for her. Like she just knew, she had a heat, maybe it was a quarter final heat, and she needed a score right at the end of the heat. And she took off and just did 2 very stock turns for her, but they were much bigger than anyone else had done. And she just 9 points. It's like they kind of had to, given that the other scores that they'd given out and what the other girls around her were doing essentially. Because you see Katie Simmers in that final, lovely surfing, but just not displacing anywhere near as much water as Gabby was.
I see that, but there's a bigger issue where I feel like they kind of got off scot-free. And Finley, if anyone could get a 9, if I say to you, who could get a 9 at Margie's 6 foot? Who's your top 3?
So what, in the girls' side?
Yeah, in the girls' side, the whole fucking every girl in the world.
Probably. So Gabby is one. Probably you'd throw Tyler in there. I imagine she'd probably capable of getting into that excellent range. And then, oh god, maybe like a Katie, I guess. I don't know. Katie was doing it through wave
Perfect,
selection.
my friend. Perfect answer. So here's where I'm going. There was fucking 22 minutes of that heat left. And with the period like it was, it must have been about 4-minute fucking period, because evidently in the men's final, there was 3 waves written. If Katie just went out there and sat there and waited and a magical 6-footer come and she did 2 of those fucking calves, what do you give that? What do you fucking give that? What if it made Gabby's look, marginally not as good? Like they're fucked. And then you've got comments on comments and comments about 20 minutes later, the judging's fucked. They got away with it because it didn't happen, but if anyone could do it with 22 fucking minutes left, it's going to be Katie Simmers. And that for me annoyed me, because it's like, all right, the heat's done. Like they're fucked. They actually can't afford for anyone to get a big wave now or do anything better than that. Like, and that's where in my head, if that wave was a 7, 5, and 8 for Gabby's, she fucking rips, bro. Like, I'm not trying to talk poorly about her. She fucking rips, and we both picked her in our fantasy to win this event. So obviously I was rooting for her. But fuck, if Katie got an opportunity and it was a big wave, you're screwed.
For sure. And it almost like for Katie, hearing that score read out immediately, like she drops a 7 and then on the way behind Gabby goes 9-5, it almost just puts her in a position there where she ends up having to sit and wait for a certain style of wave. She needs a set. She needs a big wave that has a few sections on it. And it essentially, like that wave never really came in that final. That first exchange was by far the biggest, and it kind of almost took her out of the heat in that she knew the wave she needed and she needed to wait for, but it just never came. So she was never going to extract that score. I think, though, all in all, like they got the result right. Like,
100%.
Whether you give it an 8 or a 9 or a 7 for Gabby's, I think across those two waves that Gabby had, they were better than Katie's. So I think the result's fine.
Just round it off real quick. It's just they went to the ceiling straight away with 20 plus minutes. It's just like you are exposing yourself for a major fucking scoring catastrophe, which is just I feel like no one would have, like if it was a 6, like hypothetically, sorry, a 7-5, would it be in the comments on WSL later? Probably not. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
So it was like, why? Why did you do it? Like it just, I don't know. Again, they might be wanting some fucking clickbait shit. I don't know. I don't know if they want big scores in the finals. They probably do, but that one seemed a little out of place.
Yeah, no, and we'll leave that there. I think we covered that pretty well. Just an honourable mention to Lakey Peterson. So someone that probably I was ready to ride off. And she really clutched up when she had to. She put down probably her best ever tour performance, I thought, this event. Round of 16 in quarterfinals, she went above 16 points in both those heats, and she had to make those heats to actually requalify. So very, very good performance from Lakey. Put herself back on tour. Yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there. We'll get into the men's final now. This was hard to watch. This was
I think, Finley, the best contrast between Stab High and this final. You just said it, like, there was a wave every minute at Stab High. Then there was replays in between that fucking minute of like 3 different angles. It was just non-stop fucking dopamine surfing hits, and then you flick on the fucking WSL final, and my God, there was 3 waves written in 40 minutes. And if someone said, "Oh, should I go watch the final?" I'd be like, dude, save your 40 minutes and just fucking watch something else.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you're so right in that. The contrast between the two events, like Stab High, they're like showing replays, and then they're almost like missing the start of the next wave because the action's so close. And then with this, they're like showing replays because they've got nothing else to show you. And then they come back and it's just 2 little, one red and one blue little head bobbing out to sea. And I think this was probably shown the most in the semi-final that Geordie had with Crosby. I had Crosby as the last leg of a pretty decent multi, and it was the most horrific watch of all time. Like, Geordie, to his credit, he just full veteran like performance, surfed that heat how it needed to be surfed, and he got busy knowing it was slow. But man, there was a restart, and then Crosby still didn't take off until about the 10-minute mark. So he sat out there in the lineup for half an hour without taking off on a wave. It's insane.
Yep. That's fucked. That's not even. It's not even fair at that point.
No, it like, imagine how like you go on a free surf and you sit there and let your feet get cold and your wax goes slimy, and he hasn't even gotten his feet into the wax yet, and he knows that he has to convert it into a score, which he did. In fairness to him, he got nearly a 7, but the heat was said and done because Geordie was on the wave behind him, got an 8.5, and Crosby found himself needing an 8 with minimal time left, and his surfing is more than good enough to achieve that score, but the wave was never going to come. Anyway, look, it is what it is. Final was just really tough watch. Like you said, 3 waves ridden. Griff had 1 of those waves, so he only managed a 4.83. Geordie put himself on the only proper set wave in that final, and it was a difference, really. He got an 8.5, backed it up with a 3.5 on a pretty poor wave, but it was really smart from Geordie just to know that, hey, if I've got an 8.5, if I put a 3.5 on the board here, that's 12 points. Griff needs a 7 at this point. Like, I'm in a really good position, and sure enough, experience gets the jobs done. The only thing that has annoyed me about Geordie is that he robbed us of a Colapinto brother final, which would have been pretty cool to see.
You were thinking that too, eh?
Yeah.
I as soon as I saw, like, I think it was in the quarters, I saw both the Colapinto name there, and I was like, this would be fucking sick.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like everyone, either consciously or unconsciously, was kind of rooting for Crosby. But that would have been pretty fucking cool to see.
100%. And like that, touching back to that really slow heat that Geordie had with Crosby, just to talk on priority a little bit now. I'm assuming you've had heats like this before. I know I definitely have, where you sit with priority and you wait, and someone gets a 5 underneath you, and you wait, and then the same person gets a 6 underneath you, and you're still waiting there, which is exactly what happened to Crosby in this heat. And then suddenly you've essentially committed yourself to sitting there, and priority becomes a complete curse because you now know that you have to take off on a set wave. You can't go a little one because you're just playing right into competitors' hands there. And it was just like watching a ship sinking, and Crosby was just sitting there bobbing out to sea and sitting there with the P next to his name. And it's like, yeah, sick. It's all good and well having priority, but Geordie's put 11 points or 12 points on you underneath your priority right now. And you're like, inevitably, he only gets a 6 in that heat. Like, it's just, you've had heats like that, I'm sure, Zach, where just priority is actually not what you want.
Oh, 100%. This is why it's a fucking prick of a sport. You're trying to make a decision based on something that is completely out of your control.
Hmm.
You can study an ocean, you can, and I think Slater's probably the best at this, where he'll actually actively study, time between sets, and he'll have his watch and he'll be looking and he goes, all right, it's been 8 minutes. Like there's one coming in 3 minutes time, and it'll be roughly, there's people that do that. But fuck, like the ocean changes so quickly. You could be on the switch of a tide, then your fucking 8 minute fucking set interval goes out the window. So it's just the cruel nature of the sport, Finley, and this is the perfect example of why it's so hard to pick fantasy teams. Like
Yeah.
there's so many fucking factors that can dictate whether someone makes a heat or not. Like in other sports, they would have no idea what we're talking about. Like the best, baseball player probably usually fucking wins. And look at all the, professional basketballers. Like, yeah, they're fucking still doing really well and they're still, smashing it. Whereas surfing, like, you can look at an event and just go, how the fuck did that guy get through? And you watch. And it's like, oh, that's fucking how, because he was just on the right side of priority. He was on the good side of the set. He got the second wave of the set, and that put him in, rhythm for the rest of the heat, like at Bells or something. So not necessarily the best surfer wins, and
Hmm.
yeah, priority is a blessing and a curse, my friend.
Yeah, and that became blatantly obvious with Barron making it to the semis. Like I mean, there's a heavy water wave, I guess, but like you wouldn't really pick that. And it was actually his first. It was his first green arrow movement, so like up the leaderboard since the start of the season. So obviously started at first, winning pipe, and then progressively got lower and lower down the leaderboard. And this is actually his first time moving back up the rankings. So, yeah, look, you're right. It just factors boards breaking, like interferences, slow heats. It's just random stuff like that can really just ruin your day. So yeah, obviously Geordie walks away with the win. Griff comes in as second place, his first final of the year, and Izzy and Geordie both walk away with the GWM tanks. So they've got themselves a brand new
Have
car.
fucking fun fixing those pieces of shit. You can tell there's no Great Wall Motors. If anyone doesn't know what GWM is, it's Great Wall Motors, and I'm fairly confident that they changed from Great Wall because of the name and the reputation, and let's just make it GWM. No one will know that we're
Right.
still the fucking Great Wall. But anyway,
Well,
uh,
I didn't know that, so that's interesting.
yes, you could buy a Great Wall back in 2011 for $6 and it fucking, or swap a green machine for one of them. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah, those things are going to be on Gumtree for fucking $5,000 probably next month.
um, yeah, and Owen Milne appropriately bringing up the fact that Morgan's kind of been a little bit robbed here with not being included in this event, because he would have been a red hot favourite to sort of take the car out. It was a couple of really good results at Bells and Burley. He would have been right in the mix for this, but
For
shame for
sure.
Morgs there. Could have been a nice little, like you touched on, sell the car, get some cash in the pocket. I don't know, maybe he'd keep it. I don't know how you'd work
But
around that.
funny you say that though. They're $50,000. So
Really?
like, whether you love them or fucking hate them, it's yeah. I think they range from $46,000 to $62,000 depending what variant they gave him. They probably gave him the fucking base model shitbox. But that's fucking pretty good payday on top. This had nothing to do with the that wasn't included in like the WSL prize. It was just you would call that a on top
Yeah.
endorsement that he
Just an
was that they were both just paid. So I spoke to Kurt and Isabella about this, and I was like, "Are you going to drive that thing across the Nullarbor? Because I probably wouldn't. I don't think it's going to make it back."
and then
But no doubt, like fuck, that's $50,000 in the back pocket.
100%. I'd be if it was me, I'd be selling it and buying something else. And
I'd be buying literally anything else. Like
yeah.
go on car sales. There's 211,000 cars for sale right now. Just any one of them.
Another like winner from this event. So like obviously you have the event winners and you got your Aussie treble winners, which was probably the biggest. Just I don't know. I don't really know how that much they needed to do the Aussie treble. It wasn't really well talked
I
about.
don't think they're going to be doing it again next year. They're probably going, how much did this cost us? Someone at fucking GWM just went, how much did this cost us? What do we do? Fuck doing that next year. All right, thanks, bye.
Yeah, yeah. Another winner though was Tommy Whitaker. Now kind of don't think about this, but he had in this event, he had Griffin, Katie, and Crosby as part of his stable of athletes. In that was 2 second places and an equal third. So being a surf coach, generally across the board, I don't know what his deal is, what he's got worked out with his athletes, but usually they're taking a bit of a cut of the prize money, and that's sort of their payment. Now, given I think 10% is a fairly standard one, it might be slightly less or it might be slightly higher. I'm not sure, but I've kind of worked this out on a 10% sort of commission rate or whatever it is. But he's sort of netting himself roughly 11 grand for this event just from those 3 athletes, which is a pretty nice payday. If you ask me, I'd take 11 grand for going down and having a hell time and watching some impressive surfing. I don't know about you, Zach.
Oh, for sure. They're also most traveling with the athletes and kind of on their itineraries and their budgets. So I would dare say that there's not many outgoings. But fuck, man, it can be the complete opposite. You've just got to be ready. It's almost like you put that 11K in the bank and you go, fuck yeah, but it goes to your rainy day fund because your athlete, look at Griff in the first half of the year. Fuck, Tommy's probably in the red.
Yeah.
So it's only probably just coming back up. And you would have no idea what their breakdowns are with, it could be tiered, 10% of this, 15% of that, or 8% of this, and whatever, blah, 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 blah. Who fucking knows? But yeah, no, you definitely make a good point with who he has got in his camp. There's a pretty nice payday there for sure.
For sure, if you can get yourself with the right athletes, and a lot of the time, obviously you're there as a sort of calm head and someone who's been there, done that, is able to give really good insights to them. But at the end of the day, you've got some very talented surfers in your stable, and they're probably going to get good results regardless if you're not there or not. So for him, he's just cruising, which is
there is
great.
One thing to consider though, and this is a topic that is happening throughout the tour right now, and it always is. But you've kind of got a capped ceiling because you actually cannot and probably should not take on, multiple surfers because
Definitely.
guess what? They face each other. There was already awkward moments at the pool in Abu Dhabi where Reynos was representing Rio and Italy. So bit of a awkward scenario there. Obviously, pretty rare for he's only got 2 people on tour and they matched up, so pretty rare. But they can't just go out and look after everyone and get paid off everyone because the person who obviously got knocked out and got a dirty turd, then they're going to be like, well, hey, look, could you have invested that time and effort into me rather than A, B, or C? So you do have to be highly selective of who's in your camp, and there is often a bit of friction behind closed doors about, people coming into this camp or someone's going into that camp. And, it's funny, when someone comes into a camp, trust me, it's not like, welcome, we're going to have so much fun. It's like, fuck, you could be, the difference between a world tour or a CTE event win. So yeah, it's funny. It is a really good payday for him, but yeah, it's a lot of things have to align for that to happen.
For sure. And I guess having Katie, given her past sort of couple seasons, you're laughing there regardless. But yeah, to add Griffin Crosby, fairly safe bet. So I think Tommy's got himself a pretty good little stable there. We can't move on from this as well without talking about Griffin's 10. So Wade set a 2 and Lucas 3, Ryan 9 usernames on Instagram. They sort of brought this up to us in our DMs. Zach, you are someone that understands what it's like to do a huge punt, and also someone who knows what it's like to blow a knee out.
Correct. More so the knee part.
Yeah, for definitely.
If anyone needs any knee advice from someone for free, hit me up because I am so well equipped for that conversation without having zero medical knowledge on paper. It's all up here in the thinking box, but yeah, I'm well equipped.
For sure. So as someone with this experience, I need you to break down for the listeners how insane that punt was that Griff did. So he's kind of, I'm guessing everyone's seen it. It's pretty obvious when he took off what he was going for. He did that sort of check snap, and you're just like, oh my God, like this guy's about to go like through the stratosphere, and essentially hit one of the uglier looking sections I've seen. That Margaret River end section looks like it actually doesn't even look nice. Like it looks horrific. And there's also the rock shelf that we've touched on before directly in front of it. And he just put himself off it, essentially. Can you just talk to us what it's like and what do you think is going through Griffin's brain there, seeing that section pop up?
Not much would be going through his brain. He's a pretty simple guy, which has worked well. But look, in my opinion, he needed a score and a fucking healthy one at that.
1.4.
Yeah, so he needed a big score. The wave he pulled the trigger on, it wasn't going to be a 9.4. There was no way to achieve that score without doing something miraculous. So he just went straight for it. And I'm calling one of, I don't think it's the best, and it's hard because there's so many factors that make something the best. I think that's well and truly in the conversation for one of the greatest airs ever completed while in competition, let alone just in competition or not in competition, but in the saltwater world, we'll call it. The size and magnitude of that punt, and like what you said, where he did it is stupidity. It's honestly like if that didn't go to plan, that's really bad. Like there are so many outcomes where you're walking up, not walking up the stairs, you're getting carried up the stairs or helicoptered fucking out of there straight to Perth. It's like the stars aligned for him. The landing from how high he free fell looked like he landed on a cloud. And they're just moments in life where you just go, what the fuck just happened? Like, I think there was a bit of a breakdown where he just goes, I didn't even think it was real. Like, I didn't believe it. And you could sports coach the fuck out of this and get a stiffy and break it down with a fucking yellow pen or whatever. I feel like in those moments of, sheer balls to the wall, just go for it. It's like a kinesthetic kind of feeling of it's all feel. There's no real thought process behind it. You just fucking hucking this thing out. If it feels okay, continue. If it's starting to feel a bit dicey, kick out. And fuck me, this thing was huge. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's up there, in my opinion, for one of the best airs ever landed.
Yeah. And I don't think this is too much of a stretch to say that none of the listeners that we have nor us have ever done an air to that magnitude.
Not even close.
It's like when I see these maneuvers that these guys are landing, I always, obviously the air itself is really impressive. Don't get me wrong. That air is just lunacy, but I always just put myself in the position of like coming off the bottom and looking at the lip that you're about to hit. And it's easy to like sort of overlook that a little bit because he's looking at like a pretty well a 6 foot section there with a barreling sort of lip coming at him. And I don't know about you, but I'm ducking out the back of that wave, or I'm not even doing a floater on that. Like I'm getting out of there. That looks terrible. And to have the presence of mind in that situation to know that you've got such good board control and you're going to be able to at least pop the thing and keep the board under your feet. And in some, I don't think it was overly windy that day, but still, like there's so many in Margaret River, there's so many different like lumps and bumps in the face, and just know that he had the confidence to keep the board under his feet. Most of that air, he's blind because obviously when doing a full rotation, you've actually got to turn your head to essentially get yourself to spin. So he's looking almost back out to sea. He's not really looking at where he's landing. That's pure feeling from him. And then, like you touched on, to just come down ever so gently with that lip and land on a pillow was just insane. Had to be a 10. He probably robbed of a 10 earlier in that event, but they definitely made up for it with that one, giving him the 10 there, fully deserved. And look, one of the great moves landed in surf contests.
100%. And I don't even think, as he comes out of the rotation towards, the concrete fucking ground, what it would have felt like, he like kisses the lip, but I don't think it really took much of like the brunt out of the landing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Some people like do the rotation, land on the lip, and then come down with the lip. It's almost like a 2-stage landing. I don't think that was the case here. Like his board does make connection with the lip, but it's not like all the weight has bared on there and he's kind of bracing again. I think it's almost to the flats
Yeah, yeah.
landing.
It's fair
I
to
think
say for sure.
and fuck me, like the way he rode out Finley was just bizarre. Like
It doesn't
really
make
bizarre.
It doesn't make logical sense how how softly that landing was. Like that's me or you. We're going straight through the board. We're going through the stringer and the board's in two pieces. He just gracefully lands it and just rides out of it like nothing happened. Like
Yeah, we're
insane.
gonna have to get some blood work off him because there could be some doping in his legs or something, or some sort of maybe he's wearing those like on shoes. It's got like the fucking bounciness underneath it. But whatever he's fucking doing, keep doing it, Griff, because that shit was fucking insane. No doubt, 10-point ride. What I have to say though is like going back, Gabby's 9.5 to that 10.5. Like, come on, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
They're not even close. And that's, again, I'm not trying to diss on Gabby. Good on her. She's won back to back and she deserved to win, but that's what a 10 looks like, peoples.
Yeah, and it's like it's a weird one because like, do you value the 10-point ride so much that you kind of reserve that for waves or maneuvers like what Griffin got, and that's the only time you give it? Or is there room for like maybe, I don't know, you have the 10 there, but then for stupid stuff like what Griffin did, do you have like an extra level of the scale that you can go to and give him an extra point or so? It's sort of been a talking point for years. I don't know how well it fits in.
Do you mean like the fucking golden buzzer off the X Factor?
Yeah,
or
like an X Factor golden buzzer. Like you just go, right, that's your 12. Give him a 12.
Yeah, as the prize, you get an extra year warranty on your GWM tank.
Yeah, for sure. No, I don't. I don't think they need to do that. They've introduced that at the backdoor shoot or the Dahui or whatever it is that they run at Pipe, and I think they have a 12-point ride there. But in my mind, it's just like it's essentially you're just a 10. Like it's a 10. You're just giving it a 12. Like it's the same scale, if that makes sense. You're just extending it out a little bit. So maybe someone might have got an 8, they're getting a 10, and someone who's getting a 10 is getting a 12. I don't think they
Just
need
quickly
it necessarily.
on that. Do you believe that the wave has to be a 10 as well for someone to obtain a 10?
Well, no, because that wave that Griffin got was probably a 2.5 for 90% of the population. You know what I mean? Like it's not
true.
It's I don't think that has to play part of the factor. I think when it's smaller and like I don't know, because Griffin's wave wasn't a set that day either. That wasn't a big wave for the day. But I think if you've done something so outlandish like that, I don't think you should be punished for the wave, because the only way Griffin does a maneuver like that is off a 6-foot closeout. You know what I mean? He's not going to get that on a tapering 3 or 4 turn right. He needs a big old sort of haymaker and end section to launch off of. So, yeah, like it's we can talk about judging to the cows come home. We've done it recently, and I just think,
and we'll continue to do it until the cows really do come home.
For sure. And I just think they've got it to a point where it's as good as they can get. I don't think we have to mess around with it too much. We'll get into the rankings. So, a couple of movements here. We'll go through the ladies first. Now, we're going to do a separate bit after for the cut, because obviously that's happened now. We'll just run through.
Not much of a cut on the ladies, mate.
No, and we'll get into that too, because that's just sprung us by surprise today.
Like, at the end of the world, there's only like 3 people going packing their bags.
For sure. So, ladies, we'll run through the top sort of 5 on the ladies' side, and then we'll do the same on the blokes. So, first place, Gabriella Bryan with that win, just cementing her spot up the top. Katie Simmers in second, Molly Picklum in third. So, I think now with sort of 2 or 3 events remaining, you just lock those 3 in. They are going to be surfing at Fiji. So, they're your 3 locked in. Izzy Nichols is 4th. I dare say you can nearly lock her in. So they're all quite close in terms of points. Like Izzy's on 34,000, Molly's on 35,000, Katie's on 39,000, and then there's a bit of a drop there.
What are you locking him? Are you locking him in already for the final 5?
I'm locking Gabby, Katie, and Molly in already for the final 5. I don't think they'll move. I think they may move.
Like talking like as per numbers, they are very unlikely to actually be knocked off.
For sure. I can't see them dropping out of the top 5. They might move into like within that. They might move up or they might move down a spot. But I think you just lock those 3 in. They're going to be at Fiji. Izzy Nichols is right there as well. You can nearly lock her in, but I'm not going to just yet. So she's in at 4th. And then Tyler Wright hanging on by a thread there, down at 5th place. She's got 28,000 points, so about 6,000 points less than Izzy. And then that next little section of ladies on the tour, they're all quite close. So you've got Caroline, Betty Lou they're actually on exactly the same amount of points. They're on 27,300, so about 1,000 less than Tyler. Doesn't look like the little world champ that could Erin Brooks is actually going to crack it. So the final 5, which I'm so high on, and I hope she does. But
I can't even believe she had to be saved by
I know.
Gabby. That's insane.
It's crazy. I thought she was just going to basically just cruise in, but no, wasn't to be. But she's safe. She's in 10th. Then in the men's, we've got Geordie Smith, 37 years old, in the yellow jersey, heading into Trestles. Pretty crazy stuff. He has overtaken Italo, who's been in the yellow jersey pretty well all year, since stop 2. There's a bit of a point spread there. So Geordie's on 36,000, Italo's on 31,000. So 5,000 points there. A little bit of cushioning for Geordie. I think he's going to be
seeing a slow, a slow decline into Italo 2.0 maybe.
Well, maybe, but I think he's done enough work. He's probably going to be in the top 5 already. I don't know. With the events we got left, I can't see him dropping out. We go from Italo into Yago. So Yago's dropped down 1 spot into 3rd. Kanoa remains in at 4th, and Barron is in at 5th. So crazily, Ethan's dropped out of the top 5. So he's no longer in there. Philippe's moved down to 7th. Robbo's down at 8th. And Leo has moved his way up inside the top 10 and at 9th. So there is actually a bit of movement still to occur here. Very close in terms of points, down to about, I don't know, you'd hate to write Jack Robbo off down at 8th just yet. He's got 24,000. Currently, Barron's in 5th on 28,000. So inside of Jack, you got Philippe, Ethan. They're both still key chances to crack back into that top 5.
Remembering though, we're only halfway.
We're not though, because they extended the cuts. There's actually only 2. What have we got? 1, 2, 3. Sorry, no. So we've had 7 events. There's only 4 left.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I think 4 is considerable when you look at
enough.
The first 4 and where we are. At number 7, there's been some pretty big changes up and down the leaderboard at the top and at the bottom. So I think 4 is a considerable amount to not count your chickens just yet.
For sure. Yeah. Look, I actually thought there was only 3, but there's an extra one. You got so we got Trestles into Sakurema, into J-Bay, into Tahiti at the end of the year. So there's 4. There's enough time there for some moves to be made, but. Look, very close there on the men's side. Not as many people that have sort of run away with it. So that's always a good thing, having a tight race. We'll now get into the cut. Now, the ladies' cut is really, if you didn't make the cut, you really didn't deserve to be on tour next year. Essentially, given that they've extended the ladies' numbers for 2026, so there's going to be a few more ladies on tour next year. So they've basically given 11th. So top 10 usually qualify. They've given 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th position all spots onto the tour next year. So they won't surf for the rest of the year, but they have already qualified for next season. So realistically, we're only losing Sally Fitz. So God bless her. She only lost by 400 points. She nearly clawed it back. So Sally Fitz gone. Joanne DeFay, pregnancy, probably gets a wild card, so not an issue. Tatiana, the same. Mental health will get a wild card undoubtedly, so she'll be there next year. The only other person we lose is Nadia Aristabe, who I believe was like an injury wild card. So
she got the season injury wild card, so not really hers to lose if we rip the Band-Aid off there.
Yeah, and so essentially the only person we lost was Sally, which is not ideal.
Look, I think we both agree. We foresaw that coming. Is that even a fucking word? No
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
But to commandingly win the QS in 2024 to commandingly losing the CT is, I don't know what's happened.
Yeah.
She's just maybe not selling as many sheds as before, or maybe her work at the ISA is, overbearing. I'm not sure, but that's a big decline, a very
100%.
steep red line.
She'll be at Newcastle though. Don't you worry, mate. She'll be back in there grinding away.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, we lost Sal. We'll move on to the men's cut now. We lost a heap more athletes here. So in at 23rd position, we got Matt McGillivray. We lose Lob in 24th. Jackson Bunch, George Pitter, Ian Gavea, Sammy Pupo, Emai, David Silver, Ian Gentile, Ramsey. He obviously had the injury, but he wasn't looking great regardless. Good old Edgard's gone, as we sort of knew. Ryan Callanan and Gabby Medina, who was out all year, so he will be getting a wild card. He will be back next year. No dramas there. He may even, I wonder if he's going to make a reappearance on this next side of the card. It'd be interesting to see if he's back at Trestles.
Yeah, he is surfing. He was spotted surfing, so I feel like, what's the fucking point? Like, why?
Well, Zach, technically, if he wins every event, probably it could make the final 5, but it's unlikely.
Surely
obviously.
he can't come on now. You can't. He's off. He's off this year.
Yeah, well, Geordie Smith is in first on 36,000, so he would probably need to win every event to sneak into the top 5.
No, but they can't even give him that opportunity because he's been knocked off tour. Right now,
no,
he's
they
not on the
can.
tour.
Remember Kelly the other year got a wild card to the back end of the year, so they can do that.
Do we segue into that right now while it's fresh?
No. We'll leave that for next. I'll let you stew on it for an extra week.
No,
on that.
I can't. It's been consuming me, Finley.
No, that's Trestle's chat. We're not talking about that.
I haven't been able to sleep.
No. Tune in next week, listeners, to hear Zach have a rant about Kelly getting the wild card into Trestles. Zach, I went back through our first 2 episodes, when we went through and did our predictions of the tour
Also,
qualifiers.
No one was listening.
Yeah, well, no, actually, it's still one of our most listened episodes, but that's just because everyone was basically tuning in to see.
I made my fucking nan log in on a E63 to actually watch it 50 times, and she's still accidentally listening to it. It's just on repeat.
Well, look, I did listen in today. It was, I think we've gotten slightly better, if that helps. But we did, in that episode, we went through the tour qualifiers, 5 ladies, and it was actually 11 men because there was a bit of happenings in terms of John and Gabby's injury, sort of not taking their part in the tour this year. We'll go through the men's first. So, Zach, this is actually pretty grim for both of us. I highlighted it in green and red when we got right, and what we got wrong.
Gandhi, mate. We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball.
We did okay. So Sammy Pupo, he fell off. We both said he'd make it. So done. And I have no doubts in my mind he will be back in 2026. So we got that one wrong, but he'll be back. Ian Gavea, Zach, you said he'd make it. I said he wouldn't. He didn't make it. So 1 point for me.
Okay. Are you
Marco,
keeping the points here? Is there a winner out of this?
There is, yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Marco, we both said no. He made it. He actually was quite impressive this year. So
that's fucking bizarre, bro. That's bizarre.
Yeah, we didn't do well there. Alejo, Zach, you said yes. I said no, and he just scraped in by the skin of his teeth. So you get a point there. David Silver, Zach, you said no. I said yes. He didn't make it. So another point to you. Miggy, we both said yes. That was the famous Miguel Pupo dental work episode where we likened his improvement in surfing to what's happened in his mouth. He qualified very easily, top 10. Joel Vaughan, we both said yes. He qualified easily. George Pitar, we both said yes. He didn't make it. Edgar Grigea, we both said no. He didn't make it. So point there. Jackson Bunch, I said yes. You said no. he didn't make it, so you get a point. Al Cleland, we both said no, and he just surprised everyone this year and made it. So that was the men's.
Hey, can we just do a quick little?
Well, I've got
scorecard?
a total. I've got a total count at the end. It's out of 16. It's out of 16. All right. Sally Fitz, we both said no, and she didn't make it. Bella Kenworthy, we both said no, and she did. Surprised a few people this year. Izzy Nichols, we both said no. She smashed it. So we're idiots there. Erin Brooks both said yes, just scraping in, as we touched on before. Faheen Fierro, Zach, you said yes. I said no. She didn't make it. And then we actually didn't talk about Nadia Aristabe, but I've thrown her in there, and we both would have said no. So that gets us an extra point there. So 16 points, Zach, on offer. You got 8. So
that's a pass mark. That's like my fucking ATAR. That's like my fucking ATAR. That's fantastic. I'm just average human.
I got 7, so I actually didn't pass the ATAR. You actually did better than me.
Didn't pass the ATAR. No. Isn't this ironic? The smartest man in the Zoom chat is dumber.
Actually, there's been a miscount, Zach. Sorry. I had 8, so I passed, but you had 9. You still beat me. I just added Nadia at the end there. So I pass, you actually pass by 1, you win. So
okay, so if we take the Nadia one out, which we didn't actually comment on in January, you didn't pass.
I didn't pass, but we added that one.
Take the Nadia one out then. Leave that out then.
Yeah. So we did okay, obviously, given the roughly 50% success rate there. We'll go now into fantasy. So.
Oh, fuck me. Do we have to?
Well, I'm not. Me and you aren't getting a plug here. I got 18th in this one, which I think is my best event in a while. Top 5 for this one, Breakers Boards. So I'm assuming that's Strongy. He had a cracker, 848 points. Big event for him. Josh O in at second, 801 points. Rick Boss, so Connor's brother, he done well here. 761. Redley, 761 as well. And then Lewis Flitney, 745. So there's your top 5 for this event and the overall ranking. So a few movements here. Redley has taken top spot. Bowie is down at second. Breakers Boards in at third. Ballon of Blow-In. Andy, he's just continues the decline down the rankings in at fourth. And Smelly Feet, which I believe is Reno, in at fifth. So still very close up there. Me, you're probably out of the running here, but it's all good.
We Finley, we're tying 32nd.
Wait, actually?
Yep.
Are you 32nd?
I'm 32nd.
Really? Surely we can't be both tying.
By event?
Overall. I got 30.
Overall.
You got 32nd in the event.
Yeah. I thought you got 32nd that event.
No, I got 18th in the event, so.
Fuck you nerd.
Yeah.
No, I'm 51st overall.
I think it's a bit of a stretch to call me a nerd coming 18th. It's not ideal, is it?
Well, the other people are just fucking extra nerds. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll move on from there. Well done, those guys. Basically, one last thing to touch on here. We'll leave you guys to it. The Newcastle Challenger Series event kicks off on Monday.
Mate. The Chimichanga is here.
Changa's back. Event 1. We're not going to run through the entire event because there's about 1 million surfers in it and we haven't seen a forecast yet. But what we will do is we're going to pick 3 crew to watch out for in this event. And then we're going to pick 5 people each from the men's seed list who we think is going to qualify at the end of the year. And we'll come back to this later on like we just did with our sort of World Tour qualifiers, and we'll see how we went in terms of accountability. Zach, have you got 3 people there, or do you want me to run through mine quickly?
You run through yours. I'm going to have to come up quick smart with mine because I actually haven't, no.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll go through mine first. So for Newcastle, I'm thinking a couple of local lads. So I've gone Jackson Baker and Morgan Siblick for good results here. I think they're going to know the lineup better than anyone. It's a tricky wave. It's somewhere that if it's big, it's out the back. It's sometimes hollow. If it's small, it's on the shorey and there's like a little rock break that they surf over. And both of those guys have that thing really, really dialed in. So I think they're really good picks. Both of them have done well in this event before too. Um, and then my third pick is going to be Sammy Pupo. I think he's just a lock everywhere we go, and I think he's going to seal the deal pretty early again, as he's done in the past. So there's my three. Have you come up with three yet?
Yeah, I like your favourites, and they're fucking such good lads that you've just kind of got to whack him in your imaginary fantasy. So yeah, Morgs and Jacko, they're going to be really hard to beat, especially Jacko. Like if he can get on a roll, then fuck, he's dangerous, man. Especially there, he's going to have the hometown crowd rooting for him. So I reckon that's going to be pretty crazy. Um, the third person that I'm going to pick is going to be Jarvis Earl for this one.
Nice. Yep.
That kid's dangerous. He's electric. He's a smiling assassin. He's one of the nicest fucking kids with Colgate, teeth, big smile. But fuck, come up against him in the heat. Oh man, he's gonna smile and ruin your day in the same feat. So yeah, I reckon he's gonna be pretty dangerous and one to watch for sure.
Yep. And then have you got a third one?
That was my three.
Or did you go Morgan as well? You're going Jacko and Morgan?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. All right, I'm with you. All right, and then we'll go into our top five. So I've got my 5 picks here. I'm going to go at the end of the year. I think Jet Schilling's going to do enough to crack the World Tour. I think he's going to get up there and join Crosby and Griffin and Cole in the little San Clemente stable that they've got running. Ryan Callanan, I think he's too good for the Challenger Series. I think he will get back on the tour where he belongs. Taro Watanabe, so I think he'll surf for North America. I think he will impress a few people, and there's probably a few people out there that don't actually know who this guy is. He's pretty much the second coming of Tom Curran. Very, very stylish surfer, very powerful. And I think he will make light work of the Challenger Series. I think his surfing probably belongs more on tour than it does on the Challenger Series. So hopefully we can get him there. Jackson Baker, I think he's going to he's another guy, I guess, like Taro, where just too good for the Challenger, and they need to be on tour. And then my last guy missed out slightly this year, a few spots in it. Mikey McDonough, I think he had his sort of warm up in the 2024-2025 season. And I think he's just going to really take it with both hands and get going here and get himself on tour. So that's my 5. Do you want to run us through yours?
Yeah, I love the Mikey pick. Fuck, I'd love to see him get there. So my top 5, and it's interesting, we've obviously had our lens on the tour for so long, and the perspective has been there. So it's been interesting. We've got to take the lenses off and think about where they're actually going to be surfing for this to be, to pick who we're picking. And
for sure,
it's going to be pretty rubbish. Periodically throughout time, it's rubbish waves. So I've kind of thought about that in my picks here. And I've tried to pick crew that, I think are going to do well in a variety of conditions, because there is a lot of difference between the 4 stops in the wave quality and size and height and just everything about it. So I'm trying to pick the most well-rounded surfers for that particular tour, not thinking about the CT, if that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah.
So I've gone with Xavier Huxtable. He's obviously just shown the world that he is ready for the CT. And he's, obviously that was at his home event, but he can really do some damage pretty much anywhere in the world. So I've gone with Zave. I've also thrown in Jarvis Earl for obvious reasons. If you don't know who he is, go look at his Instagram. He's just electric. I think he's going to be the next big thing to hit the tour. Maybe not as quick and fast and hard and fast as Ethan, but I think it's going to replicate that similar kind of aspect of time period. Semi Pupo, I just feel like he's the sure thing again. I'm actually saddened that he's doing this process again. Earlier in the year, we both said, fuck, he's going to be on tour. And I think I even said he's going to be on tour. He's going to retire. Like, he's not going to go through his process. He's actually just going to retire. So I'm shocked that I'm actually naming him right now in the 2025 Challenger Series season. Next one, I love this kid, man. Bronson Matey. Fuck me, man. If it's light on shores and it's a right-hander, and actually if it's a left or a right and there's any bit of air wind, you're fucked. This kid's going to do something that you really don't want to see. It's going to make Griff's fucking air look like, I don't know, child's play. So yeah, I'm super excited to see the Indonesian, prodigy come out and start swinging. This is going to be his first lap on this tour, so I'm interested to see how he goes as well. And to round it out, Jackson Bunch, I did semi-cook him and say that he wasn't going to make the tour, and it turns out that I was right. But as I come to watch him throughout the tour, I kind of hoped I was wrong, to be honest, because he fucking rips. He deserves to be there. He's a mini Conor O'Leary, so I've thrown him back in there as well as a good chance to be back on the tour at the end of the year.
Epic. Yeah, look, we'll keep those in mind. That's our top 10, and we'll hopefully we'll come back and do some accountability again, like I touched on before. But hopefully we get a few right there.
We'll
and
know a bit more Monday next week, whatever date that is. That's going to be Monday, the 2nd of June. I think the Challenger starts, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. We're going to be on. So yeah, it'll be. Like, I'm excited. It's kind of like it's like a different world to the tour, isn't it? You got, I don't know, round of 187. Like, there's so many people in the event. I don't know what it is. Like maybe round of 96 or something. And they're all just chasing their dream to get on the world stage. And look, very few of them do. It's
one thing for sure, Finley. Sorry to butt in. It's the first heat of the Newcastle Challenger Series, mark my words, will be more entertaining than the final at Margaret River this year.
I think that's a great way to leave it, Zach. Yeah, that's perfect. You will enjoy watching this more. And given they're 4-man heats as well, it's really entertaining to watch, just seeing people surfing, not sitting. So, yeah, look, love watching the challenge, love watching both. I almost, like you say, I almost find the Challenger Series more entertaining at times. Really excited for this to kick off. And yeah, we'll leave that there, guys. We'll
Hey, I just thought of something.
Are you thinking about the social plug that we didn't do at the start?
No. I would have let that go. But what I was going to say before we sign out, our next potty, mate, will be shoulder to shoulder, smelling our armpits again.
I can't wait, mate. I've been waiting for it. It's been too long. Haven't seen you in the flesh, so I'm
excited. This Zoom stuff, it's great and all, but it's just not the same without you, pal.
I'm glad you're missing me as well, mate. So that's good. We'll be back in the same room as of next week. So hopefully that's a little bit easier, just sort of to listen to as well. It's a bit hard over Zoom because sort of you start talking and then I start talking, and it's a bit weird when we're in the same room.
It's a full schmozzle.
Yeah. So we'll be back together next week, and like I said, me and Zach at the start of this episode made a massive point. I'll go and tell you what size font we put in. So the rest of the document's in size 11. I put in size 20 font with a big fluoro pink highlight plug socials on it. And once again, we didn't do it. So I'm going to take a chance to do that now. So really appreciate everyone who has already. Like, we're loving all the feedback, and it's been really great, and glad you guys are enjoying too. On Instagram, we are at the Largo Podcast. Chuck us a follow there. TikTok as well, but we've been through that. No one's on it. And then on YouTube or on your podcast app, so wherever it be, Spotify or Apple Podcast, we're just the Largo Podcast, and just chuck us a follow or subscribe or a like or a comment. Comments are great because we love sort of reading them, replying, and then obviously bringing them on here if there's any sort of ones relevant to what we've been talking about. So always leave us a comment, guys. But yeah, we'll leave it there, Zach. Enjoy your remaining couple of days in Hawaii, and we will see everyone in the same room next week. Thanks for listening.
Hello, motherfuckers. Good night.